Finding the value for x in this equation is very tricky if you don't know how to solve it. But I'm going to show you the simplest way to solve this question in this video. So keep watching. So 4 to the power x plus 2 equals 3 into brackets 2 to the power x. Now, before we can solve every exponential equation, the simplest way is to make sure all the bases are the same. So the moment the basis becomes the same, you can now equate the exponent. So for instance, when you have 2 to the power x equals 4, what we have to do is 2 to the power x, then we convert this to 2. So we're going to have 2 to the power 2. So right now, since the bases are the same, we can say x equals what? 2. That is the easiest way to solve exponential equations. But in this situation, they are adding. So since this is adding, it is not possible to equate the exponents even if the bases are the same. And you might say, okay, we can simplify by multiplying 3 and 2, which is wrong. You know, this is 2 to the power x. So you cannot directly multiply 3 and 2 to the power x. So when solving questions like this, you have to be very careful. So here's how you solve this question, okay? The hint here is 2 to the power x, okay? So what you have to do is make sure every base is converted to this form, 2 to the power x. Every base with x is converted to 2 to the power x. So here we have 4 to the power x. So we can have 2 to the power 2 plus 2 equal to 3 into bracket 2 to the power x. So then this becomes 2 to the power 2x plus 2 equal to 3 into bracket 2 to the power x. Okay, but we are not done because we have to make sure we have this same thing, 2 to the power x over here. So what we can do is we can bring this 2 here outside the bracket. So it's going to be 2 to the power x, then what? 2 plus 2 equals 3 into bracket 2 to the power x. When you get your question this way, you are almost done. Okay, it becomes very, very simple. So this is what happens. Since we now have 2 to the power x, 2 to the power x here, we have to find a way to represent it with another variable. So we say let y be equal to 2 to the power x to make things very simple for us. So wherever we see 2 to the power x, we represent it by y. So something is really going to happen here. You just watch. So you're going to have y, okay, replacing it with y square plus 2 equals 3y. You can see it's looking more like a quadratic equation. Very good. So now let's rewrite it in the right form of a quadratic equation. So we have y squared, then we subtract negative 3 from both sides. So quickly it's going to be minus 3y plus 2 equals 0. So now we have to solve this quadratic equation. Solving quadratic equations, we can find the factors of 2, okay? So factors of 2, we have 1, 2, we can add negative and negative 2 because we want values. When we multiply, we get 2. When we add, we get negative 3. So those values are negative 1 and then negative 2. So we can expand this negative 3y so that we can get negative 1y, okay, and then negative 2. Adding, okay. So negative y plus negative 2 give you negative 3y. Now notice there are a lot of ways to solve quadratic equations. So this is just one of them. So we now have y squared minus y plus. So plus minus 2y becomes, so we can just make it minus 2y plus 2 equals 0. So this and this gives you negative 3y. So it's okay. So solving this quadratically, we now factorize. So we can factor y. We have y into bracket y minus 1, and then negative 2 into bracket y minus 1 equals 0. So we now have y minus 2 and then y minus 1 equals what? 0. So for y equals 2, that means this becomes 0. So 2 minus 2 becomes 0. So we are left with y minus 1 equals 0, which is going to give us y equals 1. And then for y equals 1, this becomes 0. So for y equals 1, we have y minus 2 equals 0 and y equals 2. But we are not looking for the values for y. We are looking for the values for x. So let's scroll up and see. Here we said let y be equal to 2 to the power x. So it means wherever we see y, we have to put 2 to the power x there so that we can find the corresponding value for x. So, but y equals 2 to the power x. So for y equals 1, we know 2 to the power x must be equal to 1. And then for y equals 2, 2 to the power x should be equal to 2. So now we can now find the values for x. So before we can equate the exponents, the bases must be the same. So for the base to be the same, we have to convert this to the base of 2. So that's going to be 2 to the power x equals 2 to the power 0. 2 to the power 0 is equal to 1. Okay. So meaning since the bases are now the same, we equate the exponent. So it's going to be x equals 0. And now 2 to the power x equals 2. So 2 to the power 1. So therefore x equals 1. So the values for x in the equation, we have x equals 0 or x equals 1. So here's how you find the value for x in an exponential equation like that one. So let's quickly verify our answer to check if we are right. So the question is 4 to the power x plus 2 equals 3 into bracket 2x. So we had x equal to 0. So if this is 0, we're going to have 4 to the power 0 plus 2 equals 3 into bracket 2 to the power 0. So 4 to the power 0 is going to give us 1 plus 2. And then 2 to the power 0 is going to give us 1. So 3. 3 equals 3, meaning we are right. And let's verify the second answer. So we had x to be 1. Okay. So since x is 1, x equal to 1. 4 to the power x plus 2 equals 3 into bracket 2x. So 4 power 1 plus 2 equals 3 into bracket 2 power 1. So we have 4 plus 2 equals 3 times 2. You see that? So 3 times 2 is going to give us 6. So we have 6 equal to 6. So therefore verify. So the values for x, for which 4 to the power x plus 2 equals 3 to the power 2x is what? X equals 0 or x equals 1. So if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching.